Hey everybody, this is Steve Housen with tonsoftech.com. Based on our review that we did of the LG Optimus V for Virgin Mobile, we got a request to do some of our favorite apps and some 3D gaming on here. So I'm going to give you a little demo of that. I'm going to start with the favorite apps. Actually, most of the apps, the favorite apps on here, probably the majority of them are widgets, but I'm just going to go through them here real quick anyway. The first one is Juice Defender. This is a battery optimization application, and it kind of runs in the background and it shows you a status in the taskbar. And what it does is it does things like shuts down services. You know, like when you're on Wi-Fi, it'll turn 3G off, and when the screen's off, it'll turn your 3G off. By default, there's a few different options. There's profiles. There's the default profile, aggressive, extreme, customized, and advanced. For the most part, if you just leave it on default, it works really well. It really does dramatically increase battery life. I had it off for 6 hours, actually 6.5 hours, and it was still at almost 80%. So 80% battery, and that was just normal usage. That's definitely better than it has been in the past. So that's a good app to have. This next one is called Switch Pro. That gives you this line of quick buttons, and that's just a widget. You can place that anywhere on the screen, and you can customize buttons anywhere from just having one button. I think the max is 7, and you can set those up for different options. Like I have this set for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, airplane mode, and brightness. You can customize those. There's a ton of different options, and you can set those in any order and just customize it however you want. The next one is this audio manager, and there's a free version, there's a pay version. This is just the free version, and what this does is give you just quick access to all your volumes on the system, so you don't have to go into settings and find all your volumes that way. You can just do one tap and adjust your music and here we go. Sorry, I'm trying to do this with the one hand here. So you can adjust your music volume, your alarm volume, all your different volumes, and it shows you a status. You can set this to update on a certain interval. I don't have it set to update right now because I don't really use it for the status. I just use it for the quick access. If you set it not to update, then when you go into the application, it'll then update the widget with your status. Next is Slacker Radio. For those of you that aren't familiar, Slacker Radio is it's kind of like Pandora, where it lets you create stations based on an artist or a song, and create your own custom stations. But what I like about Slacker is that it has its own built-in stations, and you have different genres like alternative, blues, classical, comedy, country, all these different pre-built ones, and the set lists on those are actually pretty darn good. But then you can go in and create your own custom stations as well. The first actual application, well, I guess Juice Defender is an application, but the first actual application that you would launch to get into is SPB TV. This is really cool. This is an app that gives you streaming content from all over the world. So they have these different, quote-unquote TV stations that are, they have some from the U.S. and France, Germany, England, just all over, all different countries, all over the world. There's NASA TV in there for, those that are interested in the U.S. space program, and just like this one right here. It has a list of different video clips that you can just tap on. I guess this one's talking about the iPad 2 release. And it's going to buffer it. You know what? I'm doing this over 3G right now, and I don't have a great 3G signal. So let me go ahead and pause this, put it back on Wi-Fi, and give you another demo. So I got Wi-Fi on, so I'm going to go back into the app here. And let's try some streaming again. See how this, there we go, that's much better. So it's buffering, and then there we go, it's playing. So that starts up pretty quickly. I guess this is part of the Apple iPad 2 keynote speech. We don't need to watch that. That's up on the Apple side if you want to take a look at that one. And then quick settings. This is not necessarily, actually both those applications are not necessarily our favorite specifically on this phone. Those can be used on any phones, but the reason why we really like this quick setting is because this gives you some, quick access to some of the functions of your phone, like the brightness, the ringer, volume control, all that stuff. And if you want to, you can go into customize here, and then anything below this hidden settings line is obviously hidden. If you want that, if you want that to be visible, you just go ahead and drag it and drag it up above that line. Then when you go out back to the list, it'll, show up in whatever spot you dropped it. The reason why this is so good on this phone is you can drag out this Wi-Fi hotspot. Now again, this is an unrooted stock ROM phone, and you see it automatically turned off the Wi-Fi, turned on the Wi-Fi hotspot, and there we got hotspot active. We can go in here, and at this point the hotspot's on, and then if you go into settings, you can change the SSID and set up the security. Again, this is built into the phone, and you don't need to hack it or root it or any of that stuff. It's out of the box. Just load that app on there, you're good to go. The next thing is some 3D games. I basically have two 3D games on here. One is Raging Thunder, and the other is Crusade of Destiny. Raging Thunder is a 3D racing game. Crusade of Destiny is basically a 3D world, so it's kind of one of those fully immersive 3D worlds. So it's a lot more graphics intensive. This phone does have a separate CPU and GPU, so it's got a separate graphics processing unit, but it still gets taxed a little bit with Crusade of Destiny. So I'm going to go into Task Manager, and I'm just going to, kill everything off and load up Raging Thunder, just so we have a clean start here. I mean, I typically do this if I'm playing any kind of game on pretty much any Android device. You can see it loads up pretty quickly. It's the light version just for demo purposes. This is actually a pretty fun game, so I would recommend getting this one. But let's just go do a quick single race here. And here we go. And just so you know, let's turn it down a little bit here. And I'm horrible at this game, so how badly I'm doing should have no bearing on the phone or the game. I just drafted it. Yeah, alright. So anyway, there you go. That's a little demo. You can see it's pretty smooth. It may look jerky in the video. I don't know how this is going to show on YouTube, but it's pretty darn smooth on the phone itself. So let's get out of here. Maybe. Let's exit the race. I'm just going to go back here and go into our Task Manager and kill it off. So you can see that was definitely playable, and it was working great. So let's go into Crusade of Destiny. This one actually works pretty well. It does. It is a little more laggy, so it slows down a little bit just because it's a lot more intensive. This is a full, 3D environment, and it's not on rails or anything, so you can walk around wherever you want. You can talk to NPCs, typical 3D RPG stuff. So because it's so much more intensive, it taxes the phone, and even though you have the separate CPU and GPU, it's a little laggy. But I mean, keep in mind this is a $150 phone, so how this plays on this phone is pretty incredible for a phone off contract that's $150. That's pretty amazing. So there we go. We're walking around. It's the lagginess doesn't really affect the controls. You can walk up to these people and you can talk to them. Yeah. You can go into your menu and it pops right open. So that's it. That's a little bit of our favorite apps and some 3D games. was also asked to show some online gaming, which I will show, but I'll probably do that in a different video. Just that's a whole video on itself. Hopefully that gives you an overview of how the phone performs. I would definitely recommend this phone and Virgin Mobile. The service, it runs on the Sprint network, and the phone is great. I really do like this phone, especially for $150. You can't beat it. It's the best phone around that price that I've seen. If you like this review, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Twitter, or sign up at the website, and you can get some RSS feeds, and come visit us at tonsoftech.com. If you have any videos that you'd like to see on this phone or any other device, please go ahead and just send us a message, and we'll see what we can do about creating it for you. Thanks a lot.